Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MyFootballWriter YouTube channel. And I'll tell you what is also back: Norwich City's season and NODGE Spotlight. I'm here today with Will Grant. We're going to do a little bit of a preview ahead of the upcoming season, ahead of the upcoming game on Saturday, and just a bit of a review on the business done over the summer. Obviously, before we get into it, William, how the devil are you? And are you excited for Saturday? I know you are.
Happy new season, Jack. It is great to be back. After that kind of the video we actually done, I think it was on Sunday now, the videos where we predicted the 1 to 24s. I'll be back in full season mode, me. By the way, I just want to say about the video as well, a crazy amount of views on that, so we all thank you very much for that. But generally, Jack, I'm so happy to be back with you, of course, doing a spotlight video, and hopefully this season can be a very, very good one for Norwich City. How are you, though?
I'm fantastic. And obviously, if anyone is watching this after our 1 to 24 video, I'm really sorry that I'm presenting this video. You don't have to watch me. I know I'm a tool. But if you do drop off, just remember to like and subscribe as per usual. But yes. We're going to crack on, chatting about, obviously, the summer just gone. The window is still very much open, but Norwich have done a lot of their business already. Obviously, we found our replacement for Johannes Hoftorp. It now feels like months ago in Liam Manning. I feel like over the summer we've spoken at great lengths about what to expect with him this season. We obviously did a NODGE spotlight when it was announced. How kind of impressed have you been sort of with his sort of handling of the pre-season? And how do you think he's going to manage the expectations? Because I think what's ultimately changed since his appointment is an awful lot of incoming signings, a lot of really high caliber incoming signings that have also inflated the expectations for this season. Expectations, obviously, a key word surrounding Norwich City at the moment. Do you think this sort of over expectation might be too much? How do you see him managing that?
Yeah, well, two things there. I think about the pre-season bit as well. There was quite a lot of mutterings, I think, by obviously like the local press and obviously other sources as well, that the pre-season was kind of more orientated towards how maybe JHT wanted it. Obviously, he did get sacked, obviously, before last season as well. So I think Manning has had to show a bit of adaptation to it, really. Obviously, I've enjoyed it because I've seen so many, obviously, young players play against some very, very good opposition, and that will definitely help them into the new season for those guys. But I think in terms of Manning and how overall how happy he would have been with it, I think overall kind of happy with how it went, but I still think maybe he would have maybe wanted those games maybe to be a bit more stretched out a little bit more, because it feels like we are going into the season with obviously the likes of Kavisgarten, obviously the likes of Diallo playing not even a whole 90 minutes of pre-season yet, and obviously when you've got such new signings as well, and it already for me especially, Jack, I don't know about you, but it feels like the main vibe from the fan base right now is that we want quite a fast start, because obviously last year it was quite, I'd say, I think many people were maybe happy to kind of give it a year to kind of see how the squad would kind of react under a year, or maybe a bit of year of transition. But I think this year, after all these signings, I think fans do expect quite a quick start. And I think that's right, because obviously looking at how much we charge for like a game nowadays, or even like games across a whole season, it's very pricey, and we are probably top end of the league as well in terms of that as well. So fans demand entertainment, and they also demand results as well. The thing I'd say about expectations, I think Manning, although Bristol City, MK Dons and Oxford, I think there was probably some expectations there, because they were kind of quite aspirational clubs in their respective leagues. But I think at Norwich you've got a fan base now which wants to see success for their team, and you've also now as well, you put so much money behind it as well. So the pressure is on Manning, absolutely. I don't think we'll see maybe a fluent play style of football, which we maybe saw under JHT at times. So again, I think that might also where the fans might have to be a bit patient for a bit to wait and see how that kind of can transgress, because it feels like to me Manning's kind of spent a lot of pre-season trying to get us right defensively, and I think that was definitely the right thing to do, absolutely. But I just got a feeling, and I think I obviously wrote about it as well for MFW in our predictions piece, which went out today, I believe, on Thursday. So obviously go and check that out if you haven't already. And I said that I anticipate quite a slow start for us in terms of attack. I feel like we'll be okay, maybe at shutting teams away and stuff like that. But I think that midfield to attack and that kind of progression there, it might be a bit stodgy for the first few games. But hopefully we can get through to the first international break, get everyone settled, and hopefully build from there. But overall, I think the fans are right to demand a quick start after how much we spent and kind of last season and kind of how that played out. So overall, Manning has got a lot of factors I think already to try and consider with. Personally, in my opinion, I'm not going to put too much pressure on him in the first 10 games because I think logically, I think it's only fair to allow him time with his new players, because as well, all these players that come from different countries, different leagues as well. So it's going to be so hard for him just to try and get a grip of his team, I think, in the first few weeks. But then again, you've still got a decent attacking core there and players who can add much quality in the likes of Jacob Wright and Sargent, etc. as well. So look, we'll see how it plays out, but I'm not expecting a fast start. How about you, mate? How are you seeing it at the minute?
Yeah, I think just to piggyback on some of the points that you were making, just about making us defensively more solid, that was absolutely essential given the amount of times last season we were talking about how awful defensively we were. Will it go the other way and it be a little bit more of a pragmatic style of play, which with less flowing goals and brilliant attacks? Will it be a bit of a bore fest? I think if last season we complained that we were shipping too many goals, but then we play a style of football whereby we're picking up clean sheets and we're shutting teams out and we're difficult to break down, but maybe winning by 1 or 2 goals. Again, it's kind of the Norwich fan mentality of what exactly do we want. We obviously loved the Farker football, which had a very much open front door and a very much open back door as well. But I'm sure, obviously, we would love to combine the two, but yes, no manager has ever fully secured being defensively brilliant and attackingly brilliant. Obviously, we touched on the fantastic summer, the depth and the amount of players that have been brought in at such an early point in the season as well. Going through the 1 to 24, going through the other teams in the Championship, the lack of business that some other clubs have done so far. I mean, obviously, we've got a lot of August left and deadline day, but I feel like we're not going to be doing any business on deadline day at all. I feel like we've pretty much done 95% of our work. But yeah, there's a lot of players who haven't perhaps played a lot of pre-season with us. Some players who have come in for a lot of money, and some players that were essential for us to sign in terms of their position and their kind of stature. Which sort of signing would you say is the most impressive on paper? Because obviously, they could be injured, whichever player it is. They might turn out to a bit like a Eurosec almost, But yeah, on paper, which one of these do you think will have the biggest impact? Fingers crossed.
I think for me, I think it's quite easy for this one. I personally think it's Harry Darlin. I think the way how he can play both sides of central defence, I think that is so important, because you look at maybe our personnel in that position, the likes of Cordova who can play the left sides. I mean, if Mane wants to play, obviously, 3 at the back or maybe play in a kind of like a fullback system, Darlin's role can be so kind of varying throughout, really. I just think Darlin's performance levels as well, I don't think it's a case of that, like his performance levels dip if he plays a certain side either. So I just think Darlin provides just ultra real good performances, 10 out of 10 every week. And I think that is very, very important, especially in his level. I also think as well with Darling as well, it gives you also leadership as well, which is so important because it felt like, especially towards the back of the last season, one thing which we're lacking was clarity in those real important moments. I think there were many times where Norwich got counter-attacked and just the constant volume of just misorganisation, it was so apparent pretty much for most of the season, really, to be honest. So I think he definitely gives you a spine there and something to build on. And I think as well, the fact that he came as a free signing as well, absolutely brilliant. Obviously, maybe it helped us that Manning obviously came to Norwich as well. Obviously, I think that obviously has some effect on it. But I think generally, looking at that signing, championship experience, he's also scored a few goals as well from centre half as well. He can play on both the left side and the right side. And I just generally think he could be a big performer for us. Hoping he stays fit as well, of course. But I'm liking what I've seen from Manning as well, especially with the pairing of Medic and Darling. I think he realises as well that Norwich do need a very strong and robust core. And I think those two players there playing together weekly will definitely provide that. And I think that's very important going into the championship because you're going to need those kind of core players there every week to do a very good, reliable job as well. I think also as well, although maybe people might forget this, but I also think as well, securing Jacob Wright again on obviously on a permanent deal is so important for us as well because I think he showed for us last year just his fantastic ball playing qualities. He was so press resistant as well. And I also think as well as those kind of ball playing qualities, I also think kind of his ability to win loads of duels as well was so important as well. But then you've also got the really unknown signings as well. You've got the likes of Gavisgarten, who we were told that he's got such fantastic pedigree. Obviously, time will tell if he produces for Norwich. I'm confident he can do as well. The likes of Diallo as well. So I'm really excited about the potential, hopefully, if we get to see it, of a Gavisgarten, Jurasek and Diallo front three. That sounds very fun to me. But obviously, time will tell if that occurs frequently. So overall, I think I'm very excited about the attacking players that we've brought, but I feel like I'm more confident in our defensive players to probably perform better for us this season out of any signings. Do you agree with that, mate? Or do you think actually maybe some of our attacking players could catch fire immediately?
I think it's obviously very tricky, and I think I wrote a piece for MFW about whether we have won the transfer window or not, and kind of the expectation and the kind of feeding frenzy around that idea of kind of signing lots of players all at once. I think it's impressive when you look at a list of players. I think you do still have to kind of break it down, and as you rightly pointed out, Harry Darling has championship experience. Jacob Wright obviously does for half a season. Jovan Makama, obviously League One experience, but still English football experience. You do also, on the other side of the coin, have players who have never stepped foot in English football. Kovacevic in goal, Topic, Medic, Visgordon as well, Diallo as well, who I don't think he speaks English yet. So, there's clearly talent there. And I think one of the dangerous things is that a lot of fans will kind of look at them, they'll hear the pedigree, they'll see the highlights reels, and they'll think, right, off you go, put your boots on. The Millwall goal is over there, just go and score. Do you think perhaps our sort of inclination to have signed players with a lack of English experience, do you think it will take time for those players to bed in? Obviously, not a lot of pre-season for these players. I don't think Visgordon played in the Netherlands tour at all. Obviously, again, the fears of an injury to a new signing. Head in the hands. Do you think it's simply a case of just give these guys time and space, or do you think that's overly cautious?
No, I think that's absolutely fine, Jack, what you said there, really, because I feel like, especially if you're Diallo, for example, and you can't speak English, I think what makes a very good championship side, and I think maybe also generally across English football now, is having a very good fluid counter-attacking style of play. And I think during those moments of transition, I think building connections is so important for that. Finding those players in those certain roles of the pitch as well is absolutely vital. And I think it might take Diallo some time to kind of form those rapports with those teammates here at the club. But I think as well there has to be also be some expectation on him as well. Actually, I think, and to be fair, not just Viscarta, not just Diallo. He obviously joined this window, but I'm speaking about the likes of Ante Cernac and Jurasek as well. Players that and we spent a lot of money on previously in the last windows as well. I think those guys have got to come together as a unit and just try to really build those relationships together, because it feels like the pressure's going to be on those guys now for me, especially the guys that were here before, because it feels like they've had their settling in period now. Now it's time for those guys to deliver. Look, I know it's not easy for new players to come in from different countries. It never is, absolutely not. And I can imagine if I was in their position, I'd probably fail and much worse than what they'll probably do. So I think although it's very, very fair to obviously give them time, give them patience, I think there's got to be a time maybe post Christmas where I feel like we have to be a bit more evaluate. Just try maybe evaluate their kind of performances a bit more, maybe be a bit more harsh on them, and just kind of see where they're actually at and how they can kind of impact this club for the future, really. Because it feels like the Atenasos have clearly demonstrated with their financial power and obviously their communication to the press that they want to get promoted and stuff like that. And I think what that's caused is, I think it feels like to me now as a fan base, they kind of want us to judge this team on, is this team a top 6 team, or can they be competitive in that environment? And I think that's almost raised the bar for them internally already. So I'm very interested to see how those new players can try and integrate into that kind of mentality and mindset. I think it'll probably take them a bit of time, but I think the bar has been set from the club to the fans. They've said some quite aspirational things, and I think it's only fair that and we judge them on that as well. So although I might think that maybe we're a bit year too early to peak as a squad, I think it's definitely fair for the whole fan base to kind of have a different opinion, because the standards have been raised by the club. That's how we've been communicated. So maybe we actually should expect maybe a bit more short-term results in the near future, and rightly so, because fans do spend a lot of money to watch these games and watch these players perform. So I think for now, overall, I'm going to give them time, as that's fair. But I think maybe post-Christmas, maybe we could be a bit more harsh or a bit more positive on those new players.
Yeah, again, the most crucial part is their fitness, really. And you're looking at someone like Jurasek. If he was fit from January onwards, would he have been a big player for us? We will never know. Hindsight is a beautiful thing. But you touched on it, obviously, with the players from last summer who we signed with absolutely no experience in England whatsoever. Within pre-season, there's sort of been a little bit of hype surrounding 2 players, especially in Amankwa Forson and Ante Cernac. Obviously, Cernac, who developed very well and then got an injury just at the wrong time, and Forson, who came in and out but just seemed to be a little bit off the pace last campaign. Do you see this as a big season for them? Do you see them as really contributing, or do you perhaps see that their struggles might continue?
Well, I think looking at it maybe objectively so far, I think Forson can give us a real point of difference, actually, because it feels like, especially over the last few weeks, we've recruited a lot of physically robust players who are very tall. And I just think maybe having that point of difference there and someone that's a bit more smaller, a bit more agile, I think that could definitely help us to try and create this openness for us in attack. And just, I think that natural ball carrier who's very intricate in between the lines as well, I think that could definitely help us in attack and make us much more fluid. I still think there's massive questions with Forson about his technical quality. I think he's very exciting on the ball, the way he carries it, absolutely. But I still think there is a bit of inconsistency there. So I'll be hoping to see Forson try and elevate that technical quality this season, because I think that'll be his major point of difference to me. I think we've seen glimpses. I think that lovely assist he made against, I think it was Sheffield United, I think, on the second home game of the season in August. That was an absolutely great bit of play as well. and then those 2 goals also against Coventry. So we've seen glimpses, but we need to see more as well from Forson. But I think he has got the potential to be a real unique player for us this season, especially when we've got quite a lot of tall and robust players in there as well. And then as well, Ante Cernac. I think my head has just been exploding about Ante Cernac for the last 12 months now, because I keep thinking to myself, oh, he's got some great strengths up top. He's got some great strengths out on the right. But now again, he's playing as a 10. I just don't think anyone actually knows kind of what his best role is yet. And the thing as well, like, I'm still confused myself, because I can see some great traits in every role he plays, but it still feels like we're still confused about what he is as a player. And I think for Ante, especially, as he's still so young as well, and he's got a massive price tag as well on his head as well, is if he can manage to perform and be a very consistent performer for us this season, then fair play to him, man, because his head must just be exploding about what actually he is actually as a footballer right now. But I think with Ante, I think he's got some great strengths to his game, and also as well, I think I want to say, I would probably say since that goal he scored away at Blackburn, I've seen a real improvement from him as well. So there's definitely been some elevation there for him. Am I convinced if Sargent goes that he could lead the line for us to score 15 plus goals? Probably really not for me yet, but I still think he's got some value to this team wherever he plays. I think on the right, he gives us a very strong ability at cutting inside and getting shots away early. I think that's very important. I think, and I think he's great at doing that. But for me, it's just overall, it's with Ante. Like, I'm still not sure whether he can do it in a Norwich shirt. But time will tell, mate. I think both of those players have got some great strengths. It's just about how those guys can showcase it weekly.
Yeah, and again, I think the links to Dortmund at the sort of the tail end of last season, clearly statistically there is something to behold about Cernac. Maybe that'll be uncovered this season. We can only hope. But from players who we hope will feature this season to players who perhaps, not that we wouldn't hope they wouldn't feature, but we're probably quite convinced that they won't play by virtue of buying a lot of players. I think we've now signed 11 players this summer. We've only had one outgoing, and really for the rest of the window, I think the job for Napper and Lee Dunn and his team is to I was going to say deflate the team because it's inflated, but perhaps give some of our fringe players the move that they deserve. Obviously, some names that were brought up at the end of the Breda game was Shane Duffy, Anis Ben Slimani, and Brad Hills, 3 players who obviously Slimani signed last summer, was fantastic up until Christmas and then dropped off. Shane Duffy similarly was very good before Christmas and then massively dropped off. And Brad Hills, who has seemingly impressed on loan in League One, but can never just get that first team place. As news has broken today as well, Marcelino Nunez is being courted by Trabzonspor in Turkey. So with 12 months left on his contract, that's one that's looking like it could be a cut price deal for whoever signs him. So what do you make about sort of the almost kind of lack of outgoings? Do you think it's because some of these players are perhaps, not enticing for potential suitors? Do you think that's arguably the biggest challenge for Napper and his team?
Yeah, I think it's quite a big problem actually, because I think having a bloated squad could maybe cause some maybe some uprest in terms of, I think some players might show maybe a bit less mental and passion for training and stuff like that on a daily basis as well. So I think the likes of Shane Duffy and obviously Slimani, which you mentioned there, I think they're players probably where their careers at Norwich might be over. I think, as you said, Duffy was at. I actually agree with you. I thought Duffy probably up until maybe that Sunderland game, I thought he was very strong, and then maybe dipped off a little bit. I think I probably won't be as kind about Slimani than you were, Jack, actually, because I think Slimani did show maybe like 2 or 3 games where he looked promising. He looked like a real point of difference, like his like unique dribbling action almost, and like his power was there as well. But I just think with Somani, I think his technical quality was so inconsistent as well. I wasn't convinced about his offensive output as well, and I just don't think in a Liam Manning system, although maybe he's got that engine in him, I just don't think as a player he's very reliable on the ball, and I think that is quite a big topic under Manning as well. So I'm not too sad to see Somani go. Obviously, I wish Duffy Somani all the best if they were to go. Brad Hills is a very interesting one because I feel like he will have a very good career at this level. But it just feels like he's just that one step behind all the time as well. There was some talk as well that I've seen on social media that maybe McConville maybe should go out on loan and maybe play Hills as a thought for a centre half. But I think for me, Brad Hills seems like a guy now where like he's proved himself now at League Two, League One, and obviously hopefully Championship level as well. So I think he sees his career go in a very good place, and I'm pretty sure as a player you've got to be selfish, right, haven't you? And if you are in a good momentum and thought process, you want to try and continue that. So I probably do expect maybe Hills to maybe get like a top end League One move this window. So we'll see how that goes in particular as well. Obviously, I do want to actually want to say, Jack, fair play to your pronunciation of that Turkish club because I would have made an absolute meal out of that one. So very good stuff from you there, mate. Yeah, in terms of Nunes, for me, it always felt like that he would go as well. I think maybe he thinks, and maybe his agents think as well that he's probably worthy of a move, maybe a top 5 league or maybe a league like Portugal or obviously Turkey, as you outlined there as well. So for me, I just think Nunes is a very good player for this league. I think under Torre towards the back end of the season, I thought his performances were very under par. I think the games towards Easter were horrific from him actually. And the thing is, that was because I think before that game, before those games were in Easter, I felt like he did show from large proportions of last season that he was a very good player for this level. And I maintain that. I think he had a very good 12 months for us, but injuries and I just think maybe kind of like his willingness to kind of get on board with JHG's ideas as well. I just don't think that was all there for him, and I think that maybe kind of made him play a bit weaker in some games as well. So I think for Nunes, maybe it's the right time to go. And if it's the case, I'm not too worried about it either. To be honest, I think we've got what in a minute, like is it 11 midfielders at the club? So it's a crazy amount as well, really, as well when you consider the likes of Gabe Forsyth and Oscar Schwartz, or maybe he will try and break through into that role as well. So there's plenty of options there. Would I sign a replacement for Nunes? Probably not, because I feel like that Topic and Jacob Wright pivot could be a very good one for us. And although, which you're going to probably see in a minute, I put Nunes in my starting 11 for the game against Millwall, I don't think that's a very reliable long-term option for Norwich. I just don't. I think if Manning obviously can see Nunes playing well and he can get Nunes' kind of mentality in a very good place, then I think he could be a very good player for us next season. But it feels like he wants to leave, and I think maybe it's the right time as well.
Yeah, with 12 months left on the deal and absolutely no talk of a contract renewal, that does feel like it's kind of only going in one direction. But yeah, Chilean international who can absolutely smash in free kicks. He won't be short of potential clubs, that's for sure. And yeah, like you said, in terms of that formation, whether Manning does go for a back three or our dear friend 4-2-3-1.
It's been so long. It's good to see you back. 4-2-3-1. Thank you.
Will it happen? Because if Nunez is in that system, is he the 10? Is he the defense? I mean, you've got Topic, Wright, McLean that can play in that kind of deeper defensive role. In the number 10, you have got Schwartau. You have got Marcondes. Let's not forget his existence. You've also got Liam Gibbs, bless him, who's retained the number 8 shirt. Let's not forget Liam. But yeah, like you said, hugely inflated midfield. Maybe we'll go after Maatsen eventually. But no, I'd probably agree with you. I probably think that, if they get something like, 9 or 10 million pounds for him, with 12 months left on his contract, I would probably say that's a good deal. But
I,
let's go
I'm
on.
surprised. I'm surprised you think we're going to get that much from Jack. I can't lie to you, buddy. I, 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 I got a feeling like Norwich might accept like 5 or 6. I really do. I don't think he's showcased the level of performance weekly to kind of get that free. Obviously, on his day, on his day definitely at his peak. I think he's definitely worth that. But I just think over like a season, like is he worth that much over a season in terms of value for Norwich? Like 12 months left. I'm not too sure. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, my logic was that Borja had 12 months left and he was 14. Obviously, top goal scorer in the championship, mercurial talent. Did go off the boil. If I was Marcelino's agent, I'd just say, look, he's a Chilean international. It doesn't matter if he's not very good at Millwall away or Plymouth away. He plays against Bolivia and Paraguay. So have that. £9 million, please. Let's go on to Millwall. Let's go to actually preview an actual league match where we will be starting it at Carrow Road, which is very rare because usually our first game of the season is away. Last time out, I think it was Hull when Adam Eder scored that fantastic last-minute winner. We've obviously got a team turning up to Carrow Road who, on our home soil, we tend to win most of the time. I cannot remember the last time that Millwall beat us at Carrow Road. William, can you remember?
I think it was 1968, which
Was
is
it
crazy,
actually?
isn't it? Like that's like 50 plus years. It's nuts, isn't it? Almost
Yeah, no,
more
that's
towards 60, isn't it?
that's nearly
If the
60
maths is
years.
correct. Yeah, mental.
Yeah. So obviously at the Den, they love to beat us, but when they turn up to Norfolk, Millwall just don't seem to have the same boots on. Perhaps. Obviously, they'll be guided by Alex Neil, who I'm sure half of Carrow Road will clap when he comes out. Yeah. How do you see this one going? Obviously, reviewing Millwall's transfer window, it has been very impressive from them. In my prediction for the season, I had them as finishing in the top 6. Do you see this as being a tricky one, or do you see it, being 60 years Norwich City?
Yeah, I think like you, I predicted Mill to finish 7th, so one place out actually from where you chose, Jack. And yeah, I think it'll be a very very tough game for Norwich. I was looking through Mill's attack earlier, and they've got some great players. I think they recruited the likes of Femi Aziz from Reading and the likes of Negley as well, who I think came from the Dutch league as well. So those two players are very agile and quick and very direct as well. And then you couple that as well with the quality of Macaulay Longstaff. Although maybe last year maybe was a bit underwhelming from him, but you had the likes of Josh Coburn, who I think on his day is a very, very good striker. Still think maybe he's probably a bit below Mill's level in terms of quality. I think maybe like more so like lower championship quality, but I think potential wise, very, very good player. Then as well, the guy Milo Vanovic as well, absolutely great player as well. But I think for Mill, what I like about their squad is that it's very well balanced, and I think unlike Norwich, they've got a very, very visible core there who played together last season as well. I look at their back four. I think three out of the four, their back four, who I reckon will play against Norwich the weekend, played last season for them, the likes of Japhet Tanganga, who I'm surprised is still here, by the way. I think Tanganga and Cooper are a great pairing together. I think Tanganga's recovery pace in particular helps Cooper out very, very well. And I think as well as that, you've got right back on the side, as well in Tristan Kramer, who's a very good player for this league. Maybe isn't as free flowing in attack in terms of dribbling quality for a fullback, but he's a very, very tall player there. He can also play centre back as well. So I think Mill have got a very, very good kind of core to their back four there, which I think obviously, although Norwich is looked good at pre-season, you can't say for sure yet whether that our new core is reliable. So whereas I think Millwall can maybe say that they've got quite a reliable core there in their back line. And as well, I'm very, very curious with Mill, actually. They could go for a 4-4-2 and play Kovan and Ivanovic up top. I think if they were to do that, they would cause Norwich a lot of problems early on. And I could see that as well because Alex Neil's a very, very... Alex Neil, I think he's a great manager in the sense that he knows when to be pragmatic, but I also think he knows when to be aggressive and when he can hurt teams in certain moments as well. So I think it could be a very good game as well. I mean, you've also got the nous of Casper Denora in there and Billy Mitchell in there, who are two very good eights in this league as well. And I really like as well the creativity in a midfield as well, in Luke Cundle as well. So I think they've got a very, very nice midfield there. And I think though they will definitely cause us problems. I think more so out wide. I think maybe the battle between Femi Aziz against Jack Stacey could be one where they might get some success as well. And if you think about it as well, Alfie Doherty as well, he might be on the same side as Femi Aziz as well. And that could be a very, very dangerous one, which Norwich are going to have to contain. And I just think this will be a very good game for Norwich to show they've actually come a long way in terms of their defensive structure and how they've actually improved it, and kind of judge their kind of 4-6 week work actually, and kind of see how solid like we actually are as a unit, and hopefully see all the good work that's been done. But I think overall, Miller got some great players. I expect them to be in and around it, like Cuz I think most of the season as well. I think as well for Norwich, something which I'll be very excited about as well for us in this game. Millwall's first choice keeper, Lucas Jensen, I think his name is. I think he's like 6'8". He's absolutely colossus, but I think they'll be playing their backup goalkeeper in Stephen Bender, who I think signed from Fulham this window as well. And he hasn't played football, I don't think, very frequently in the last 12 months as well. And I'm not quite sure how he's got a championship move even. So I think there's definitely potential there for Norwich to try and score a few goals. I think I'm going to go for 2-2. I think it'll be one of those games where I think maybe both teams might still be a bit maybe not at their fluent best in terms of defensively and sharpness wise. I don't think, as it's probably the first game back, but I think there'll be some moments of quality in this game, and I back Norwich to score and get a few goals. I think 2-2. I think it'll be a very good game of football, Jack. What do you think, mate?
It's it's tricky. Obviously, knowing exactly what the 11 will be for Norwich. I'll flash up what you've predicted. Will be the lineup.
Wrong sides.
You've gone for everyone's favourite 4-2-3-1.
Yeah,
I think because
I think I had one of those moments like 2 hours ago where I was just thinking of the 18-19 season. I thought, you know what, I want it back. I think obviously what we saw against Breda in the last pre-season game, we obviously saw a 4-back in the first half, and then again also a 3-back in the second half. I like to think at Carrow Road that hopefully Manning has got a bit of maybe just a bit of like inside club knowledge about Norwich, in the sense that we're so unsuccessful, in a 3-back formation in the last few years. I think first home game, try and put on a show for your fans as well. So I've gone for a positive mindset. 4-2-3-1 at home. Fans do not want to see this season paying, what is it, £600 for a season ticket, and us playing 3-back against Millwall. I get it, in certain games you have to be pragmatic, you have to show that bit of courage as well. But I think first home game of the season, we've got some really good players on the pitch, and let's just try and get those guys on the ball. I think that there's enough trust in there, in the likes of Medic and Darling off pre-season so far. I know it's pre-season, but I think there's been some good frameworks built there. So yeah, I just want us to be proactive in this game and try and go for it. Maybe next week against Pompey might be a 3-back. I might put out a 3-back, but I think against Millwall at home, we've also got a great record against them as well. So let's just try and attack and put on a show for the fans. My only talking point probably in my team is that I put in Callum Fisher. I just personally think Callum Fisher, is a much better right back than what Jack Stacey is. I think Stacey maybe as a right wing back could be more successful for us maybe across the season. But I think in a 4-back, Fisher gives you that all-round quality. I think although Fisher maybe isn't as effective at Stacey, and maybe playing so wide and direct, I generally think Fisher makes us a better side. I think he's that good. But yeah, obviously we could see. I think, to be honest with you, I think Stacey will probably start, and I think we'll probably see a lot of that Cernach Stacey link up, or maybe a Michael Forson on the right as well. But that's my team. Hopefully we get a win, but I'll probably go 2-2.
Yeah. Well, You're saying about a back three. I don't know. I get a feeling that either it will start as a back four and mold into a back three, whilst kind of out of possession or kind of in possession. It's not surprising that we've also gone out and signed players who are versatile. Makama, who can play up front and wide, Chris Gordon, who can play up front and out wide, Topic, who can play at centre back or in midfield. And obviously there are players existing in the squad that are versatile, with Cernats, who can play up front and out wide, and our dear friend Kenny McLean. I have actually said that Kenny won't start this one. I've put Topic in there just because I think he's a beautiful specimen of human being. And I think he has done the pre-season with Famalicão, maybe just not with us. Maybe I'll swap Kenny for
I think Kenny's injured, mate.
But yeah, it's tricky. I'd like to see Diallo play. I'd like to see him feature. I think Jacob Wright will start. I would probably say that Jacob Wright will probably, if fit, start every game this season. I don't think there's a reason why he wouldn't. He just looks so secure on the ball last campaign, and I think this could really be a huge one for him. In terms of Millwall specifically, yeah, I mean, how tall is Jake Cooper? 6'7".
Tall enough.
Yeah, absolute giants in the team. We've obviously tried to build our own team of giants. Well, I guess it's Clash of the Giants. So I'm gonna say 3-1, just because it's Millwall.
Go on, Jack.
Yeah, it's Carrow Road, NR1, sunshine. Early August, game week 1 of 48. It is 48, isn't it? Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Give me a yellow card there, I'm afraid. I say it's a yellow card, Jack, I'm afraid, and that is your first of the season. So you can't get too complacent now, buddy. It's not even kicked off yet, and you're making the errors. What's going on? It's pre-season naivety, I think, from you, Jack. Early doors, mate.
I'm not match fit yet. I'm not match fit. I need a couple more minutes under my belt. But speaking of minutes under the belt, we will obviously have loads of podcasts over this season. We will be covering the Millwall game after its 3-1 win. We're going to have loads of other videos to bring you. Will and I are going to release a video hopefully next week. We won't give you too many spoilers, but just look at his name and what he's interested in. Which way is it? It's that way.
That'll do. Anyway, mate.
Anyway, yes, this has been NODGE Spotlight. I hope you've all enjoyed. If you have liked it, obviously leave a like and subscribe. It would do us a massive favor. And we will see you again very soon.